order to achieve his goal of living peacefully with his father. In the days that followed, the Eastern School of Magic entrance exam started for MASH. Before the first exam began, teacher Lucci watched the candidates studying. Suddenly, he saw MASH, who was training with high weights. Lucci couldn't believe seeing a muscle freak in their prestigious school. MASH only looked at books on muscle building, and his father was concerned that MASH would not pass the entrance exam. Then, teacher Lucci greeted all the students. Lucci was very famous and admired by all the students. Suddenly, Lucci conjured up the first exam that amazed everyone. MASH commented that he could also prepare the exam beforehand without magic. Lucci got mad at MASH, but he was adamant that MASH would fail the exam. The first written exam has been put under a spell, with candidates having to use magic to put the letters in the right order. MASH wanted to pass the exam. As a result, he threatened the letters to put themselves into the right order, so MASH was able to immediately pass the first test without magic. After that, MASH, with his strong muscles, insisted on further testing. MASH had so much physical strength that the other students thought he could use magic. MASH passed all previous tests with ease. As the next test, the students had to find their way out of a dangerous maze full of traps and monsters. In the maze, MASH was immediately approached by a girl named Lemon. She wanted to find a way out with him. She was very clumsy and she activated, on their way, all the traps. MASH was depressed because they were so slow. When MASH tried to find his way alone, Lemon tried to stop him. The girl handcuffed him with a spell. MASH just freed himself with his strength, and he ran away to find the way out. Suddenly, a strong monster appeared behind Lemon. The monster attacked Lemon and knocked her wand out of her hand. Lemon froze in fear, and the monster wanted to kill her. She accepted her death because she felt guilty about wanting to sabotage MASH. At the last moment, MASH appeared. He punched the monster and defeated it with just one punch. MASH has risen. Lemon immediately fell in love with him. MASH then smashed the walls with his muscular strength. Everyone was scared, and they couldn't believe that MASH just made it to the finish with his muscle power. The school principal took an interest in MASH. All the students were angry with MASH, and the sensitive MASH became sad. Lemon then told the truth, that teacher Lucci promised her to let her pass the exam by sabotaging MASH on the exam. She also said that MASH saved her and he proposed to her. MASH didn't know of any proposal, but he had too much riz, so now he had a wife. And the teacher was angry with MASH. Lucci wanted to kill MASH with a strong spell, but MASH broke his wand. Suddenly, the school director, Wahlberg, appeared. He later wanted to punish Lucci for his behavior and said that he is starting the final exam now. The last test was an interview, and MASH was teleported to another dimension. The principal then wanted to know his reason for choosing the Eastern Magic School. MASH said he wanted to live a peaceful life with his father, and that's why he chose the Eastern Magic School. After that, he asked why MASH saved the girl. MASH replied that his feeling told him to save her. The principal liked MASH. Finally, the headmaster summoned a giant monster, and asked how he would have acted if he himself were MASH's opponent. However, Retro Soul was taken hostage in the doll. The principal wanted to see how MASH would react in a desperate situation. Suddenly, MASH tried to stop the monster with his bare hands, and everyone was shocked by MASH. The school principal knew MASH was strong, and he wanted to see the answer that as a strong person, he would help the weak. MASH could prove his kindness to him. MASH passed the exam and was accepted into Eastern Magic School. The following day, MASH was in class. MASH should open a lock with magic. He used his muscle power. However, the teacher was angry at MASH, and MASH said that he isn't good with magic and the like. Another student was shocked by MASH's bad boy attitude. He thought MASH is a troublemaker. When Finn was looking for his room, he didn't want to share a room with MASH. Suddenly, he found his room and couldn't see a door. MASH already broke them, and they introduced them both. Finn remarked that MASH is a nice guy but a muscle freak. The two became friends, and MASH offered to share his cream puffs with Finn. So, the two ate delicious cream puffs. In the days that followed, we see MASH eating cream puffs and suddenly realizing that he needs a broom for tomorrow's class. He wanted to borrow a broom from Finn because he accidentally bought a burdock instead of a broom. The next day, the students should learn to fly with the broom, all use their magic, and were able to make the broom levitate. Then, MASH tried to but he had no magic and couldn't make the broom levitate. Suddenly, another student appeared. He was looking down on Mash, so Mash used his muscle power and his broom hopped into his hand. The other students said Mash cheated, and he was angry. After that, the time trial started, and Mash was asked to erase the loser. The loser had to become the winner's errand boy. Mash accepted the challenge, and they competed against each other. The teacher wondered if Mash could ride a broom at all. Then the race started, and Mash won immediately. Nobody knew what happened because Mash was much too fast. Finn was the only one who saw Mash's incredible speed. He threw his broom, and it was available for Mash to ride. So Mash won the bet, and the other student was angry. Suddenly, someone closed his mouth with magic, and another student appeared. He introduced himself as Lloyd Cavil, and Mash thought his name was called Spot Cabbage. Afterwards, Cavil was stopped by the teacher, and he told Mash that he wanted to meet up with him later. He then bullied the other student for failing to win against Mash. Cavil was very violent, and he enjoyed beating up other students. Meanwhile, Mash learned from his friend Finn that Cavil is a big bully in their school. He also learned that everyone is afraid of him, because Cavil is the son of a high-ranking member at the Bureau of Magic. The many words were way too complicated for Mash, so Finn summarized it and said that he is befriended with the vice principal. As a result, everyone is afraid of Cavil. Later, Mash made cream puffs, and he would have liked to share the delicious cream puffs with his father. So he remembered Brad's words, and he really wanted to become a divine visioner. Meanwhile, Cavil waited for Mash, who had forgotten their meeting the next day. Mash realized his book was broken, and Cavil showed up. Mash apologized for forgetting their agreement. Afterwards, Cavil said he could help him become a divine visioner, so Mash should do whatever he says, and he would use his connection to help him. Mash accepted his offer, and he had to become his henchman. Then, Mash did everything Cavil was told, and Finn felt guilty. In the days that followed, Mash's book broke again, and he wanted to use Finn's book together. Afterwards, Mash shared his cream puffs with Finn, and Mash said he was lucky to have found such a nice friend as Finn. After class, Mash was bullied by Cavil, and he looked down on him. Mash didn't mind being bullied by Cavil, so he cleaned the floor and he realized he had Finn's book. Then we see Finn. He was bullied by Cavil, and he was responsible for the destroyed books of Mash. Finn didn't want to do bad things to his friend Mash, so he refused to obey Cavil's mean orders, and he was beaten up by him with magic. Then, Mash was searching for his friend Finn, and he found his friend injured. Mash was worried about Finn, and his friend apologized for destroying his school books. Finn was crying, and he regretted doing the mean things because Mash thought he was a good friend. Mash was angry that Cavil was bullying his friend Finn. Suddenly, Mash ran towards Cavil, and he smashed his head into the ground. Mash ordered him to apologize to Finn, and Finn worried that Mash would be expelled from school. After Mash knocked out Cavil, he realized he could be expelled from school. Vice Principal Farman then showed up. He is a friend of Lloyd's father and has accused Mash of committing an act of violence. As a result, Mash and Finn were threatened that they will be expelled from school. Also, Farman looked down on them both because they are ordinary students. Suddenly, Mash attacked the vice principal. Farman tried to fight back, but Mash didn't give him a chance to attack. He then dug a hole through the concrete floor, and Mash planned to bury him. Mash threw him into the hole, and he started filling the hole to bury him. Then Mash said he will bury him so he doesn't get kicked out of the school. He also threatened Farman, who was screaming in fear. After that, Mash was called to the school principal, Wahlberg. Mash thought he was summoned for using the dorm kitchen without permission to bake his cream puffs. Wahlberg answered that he was called to him for hiding Cavil and burying Vice Principal Farman. Mash learned that the Bureau of Magic wanted to expel him from school. The reason was that they are the strongest power in their country, and Mash has done something forbidden. Suddenly, Wahlberg said he's on Mash's side because Mash is a good person who only wanted to protect his friend. The principal doesn't like the current Bureau of Magic. He hopes that a good man like Mash will become a divine visioner who will change their world. He then told Mash the conditions for becoming a divine visioner. Mash found out he had to collect coins, but accidentally he fell asleep because he is a little bit stupid. Afterwards, Wahlberg said he wouldn't be expelled from school, and Mash went to his room. Meanwhile, Cavil and the vice principal were traumatized by Mash. In the days that followed, we see Mash and Finn talking about cream puffs. Suddenly, an older student, named Tom Knowles appeared. All the girls had a crush on Tom, and they made fun of Mash's mushroom hairstyle. Mash was invited by Tom to a sport called duello. Mash then tried to explain to him that he couldn't ride a broomstick, but Tom didn't let him go and forced Mash to join their team. After that, they had a match, and Mash still couldn't fly the broom. The game started, and Mash just watched them flying in the sky. He wanted to go home, and the viewers threw garbage at Mash because he didn't start to fly. Then the two teams played against each other, and Mash's friends got worried. Suddenly, Mash was yelled at by Tom. Mash remarked that Tom is crazy, and he told Mash he must be strong like a strong bamboo. Tom wanted him to activate his bamboo power, so Tom tried to explain the rules of the sport duello to him. The magicians have to throw a ball into the opponent's ring. There is no magic in the sport, and Tom realized his team was losing. However, Tom wanted to return, and he believed in Mash. Suddenly, Tom was badly injured by the opposing team. Everyone was shocked, and the opponent lied and said it wasn't on purpose. Tom couldn't play anymore, and he was angry that the opponents played unfairly. Tom was sad that they would now lose the match, and the opponents looked down on Tom. As a result, Mash got angry, and he started using his cream puff's power. Mash then jumped into the air, and he was able to fly. Mash used his feet, and everyone was shocked that he could fly like that. Then Mash wanted to win the match, and the opponents underestimated him. They tried to stop him together as a team, but Mash just threw the ball into the goal. Mash scored, but the opposing team held a lead of more than 49 points. Suddenly, the ball returned to Mash, and he had a strong technique, so he threw again with an inhuman spin. Mash then threw more goals, and he repeated it throughout. Mash managed to score many points, and they made a record, so his team won by 999 points, and the Adler dormitory won the game through Mash's incredible cream puff's power. Also, after his win, Mash received a silver coin for his new record. Then Tom came to see him, and he was very proud of his bamboo brother. Tom hugged him and thanked Mash for the win. After that, we see Mash in a newspaper report. He was now famous, and another student harbored a grudge against Mash. He thought Mash is a softie and didn't accept him. The next day, Mash was harassed by Tom and Lemon. Mash just wanted to go to school normally, but Tom and Lemon were both crazy. They just wanted to mess around. Meanwhile, Finn refused to help him and pretended he was sleeping. Suddenly, Lance Crown showed up. He was very well known because he had 2 marks on his face. In addition, he ranked first in the entrance exams. Lance then said that Mash would now have a lot of fun with him. So, Mash thought Lance wanted to play hide and seek with him. Then Lance showed a bottle, and he was able to imprison Mash's friends in the magic item. Lance said they'll meet in the woods in case he wants to save his friends. They later met again in the woods, and Lance challenged him for his silver coin. Tom was surprised because only older students have 2 silver coins, and he was aware of how dangerous Lance is. Then, we learned that most people are single-line magic users. Sometimes children are born with multiple marks. They are very special. They also have immense magical power and are very dangerous. Lance then made the rules that they fight against each other to the point of incapacitation. Then Lance said he couldn't lose against someone like Mash, who is a good guy, that helps weak people. His friends warned him and said that Mash shouldn't fight because Lance is very dangerous. Mash immediately wanted to fight, and Lance changed their environment with a spell. Meanwhile, Retro and Brad were worried about Mash, and they hoped that he didn't cause problems. Suddenly, the ground shook, and Lance was ready to start their fight. Mash attacked him, and he was smashed into the ground with gravity magic. Lance said that a person who only thinks about others can never become the number one. So, Mash tried to get up, and he proved the arrogant Lance that he doesn't have to get up to attack him. He pulled a root out of the ground, and he was able to break Lance's spell. After that, Mash went into a boxing mode, and Lance couldn't stop him. Suddenly, Lance's necklace fell to the floor. That's how Mash discovered a picture of a little girl. He couldn't believe Lance was a lolicon, and he wanted to call the police to arrest him. As a result, Lance said that he didn't have a lolicon complex but a sister complex instead. Then Mash returned his necklace. Mash was asked what is the most important thing in the world. Mash replied that cream puffs are the most important thing in the world, and his answer was wrong. Suddenly, Lance got angry, and he said that the most precious thing in the world is his little sister. After that, Lance ran to a cliff wanting to take advantage of Masha's good nature. He did all the bad deeds for his little sister. Then we see Lance and his little sister Anna. She was angry that he'd get into a fight. He replied that he just fell, but Anna knew the truth. The reason Lance got into a fight was that he helped strangers who were being bullied. Lance loved his good-natured little sister, but one day Anna got sick. She was slowly losing her magical powers. Also, in 5 years, the Bureau of Magic would have executed her because she was losing her magical power. The parents accepted Anna's fate, and Lance was furious. He decided to become a divine visioner to save his little sister. Lance then dropped the magic item, and he reinforced the fall with gravity magic. Mash got ready, and, he said, hamstring magic, activated. Lance thought Mash could use magic, and Mash went into a deep launch. Suddenly, he started sprinting, and he managed to get the bottle. Besides, he was right back upstairs with crazy speed. Lance was startled by Mash's superhuman strength and tried to come up with a plan to win. Mash then said that Lance is actually a good person too. Mash was aware that Lance was just throwing a fake bottle, and he didn't bring his friends in danger. Mash wanted to end the fight, and Lance asked why he wanted to end the fight when he won. Mash's response reminded him of his little sister's words. That's how they ended the fight, and Lance was aware that he had lost. Mash received a silver coin from Lance, and his friends escaped from the bottle. Then Mash was immediately harassed by his friends again, and Mash was annoyed by his friends harassing him. In the following days, we see Mash in the Adler dorm. He was a math genius and was trying to figure out how many silver medals he needed to create a gold one. Mash figured out that 5 to 2 equals 28. Finn couldn't believe how stupid Mash is, and he realized that they forgot to do their homework. Finn was panicking as they had to make potions for class. Mash tried to cheer Finn up with a cream puff, but he didn't want to snack. Suddenly, Lance appeared. He had already done his homework. Finn was impressed by the best of his year, that he is a model student, then Mash wanted to tease him a bit. He showed Lance the photo of his little sister. Lance was immediately overwhelmed and he was smashed into the wall. Mash knew about Lance's weak point, so Lance passed out from the photo of his little sister. Lance then decided to help them produce some potions. Then Lance said that they need a mandragora for their potion assignment. The mandragora was screaming the entire time, so Lance showed them a spell to silence the mandragora. Following this, Finn tried the new spell, and he was unsuccessful with his try to silence the mandragora. After that, Mash tried to use magic, but he only angered the mandragora even more. Finn was distracted, and Lance gave him helpful advice. So Finn managed to make the mandragora sleep. Finn thanked him and remarked that Lance is a nice guy. Meanwhile, Mash transformed the vegetable into a giant monster. Following this, Mash decided to solve his problem. He slapped the mandragora in the face, and the mandragora was knocked out by Mash's slap. As a result, the mandragora turned into normal vegetables. Afterwards, Lance showed the preparation of the vegetables, and he started to process the vegetables into a high-quality potion. Then Mash imitated all the movements and the cooking skills of Lance. As a result, Mash prepared a cream puff with the monster. Lance thought Mash was joking, so he tried to teach Mash how to create some potions. Lance's cooking class was a failure as Mash only managed to cook cream puffs. Lance couldn't believe Mash was talentless and just a good fighter. Lance suddenly said that he will never lose to Mash again. He also said that Mash is his rival, and he won't lose next time. Then we see Principal Wahlberg wondering about the outdoor classes between the dorms. Meanwhile, students were walking down the school corridor, and they were bumped into by a red-haired guy. He claimed that he is the main character, so he slapped the 3 arrogant students. Then we see the students of the Lang dorm. The leader gave a speech and ordered his underlings to rob all the coins from the other dorms. Then we see Mash again. He didn't manage to make a potion and ate his cream puffs with Lance. The next day, outdoor classes at the Eastern Academy began. Then Dot showed up. He also belonged to the Adler dorm and made fun of Mash. He said that he is the main character of the school. Lemon then appeared. She ran to Mash. Dot was immediately jealous of Mash because Lemon was in love with him. Suddenly, Dot spit on Mash's face because Dot was jealous. The reason was Dot didn't get attention from the girls. Mash and his friends ignored Dot, and he got even more angry. Then a teacher showed up. He said that the Manga and Adler dormitories have to fight monsters today. They can collect a lot of coins, and the value of the coins is determined by the strength of the monsters. The monster hunt started in the forest, and a student from the Manga dormitory showed up. Silver didn't like Mash because Mash is very famous in their school. Suddenly, Mash was attacked, and the teacher stopped the two. The angry Silver said they were just playing, and Mash was angry. He wanted to punch the other student, but Lance stopped his friend. Mash learned that Silver is a year older than them and that he is very dangerous. Lance said he belonged to the Manga dorm. Suddenly, Lance realized that Mash was only angry because Mash thought his cream puff got squished. Lance and Mash were going into the forest, but Mash got lost in just a short time. Then Dot bumped into Mash, and Mash slapped him for talking nonsense. Dot wanted to start a fight with Mash, but he heard a girl's voice. Then a girl screamed for help, and Dot cast a fire spell against a guy. He saved that girl from another magician. The girl thanked him and he fell in love with the rescued girl. The girl then seduced Dot. She had RAS, and Dot fell in love with her instantly. Meanwhile, Silver defeated two strong monsters, and he got his first silver coins. After that, Dot got very nervous, and he couldn't believe the girl was interested. Suddenly, the silver-haired girl realized that Dot is very gross. She lied to him and continued to compliment him. Also, the girl could use a spell to seduce guys. She then tried to seduce Mash, but she failed to seduce him. The reason is Mash is a Riz god, so Mash had strong resistance against Riz spells. The silver-haired girl tried to seduce him again, but she failed to seduce Mash and couldn't believe her spell didn't work against him. The girl accepted her failure, and she tried to take advantage of Dot. Then she said that a guy named Silver was threatening her. The girl said that he is a stalker, and she is desperate because he always seeks her out. Dot replied that he will protect the girl. Silver suddenly appeared and attacked them immediately. Dot countered with his fire spells. He used his machine gun X-Blom spell and shot dangerous fireballs at Silver. Dot caused dangerous explosions, and Silver was hit by all the fireballs. Mash just watched the fight while he ate cream puffs. Meanwhile, Finn and Lemon were happy to meet Lance in the dangerous forest. Lance was concerned Mash was getting into trouble again. Then, we see the fight between Dot and Silver again. Silver protected himself against the attacks of the explosion spells with his iron magic. Suddenly, Silver showed him his magic spells, and he was able to hurt Dot. Meanwhile, Mash was shocked that his cream puff fell out of his hand. Dot didn't know what he should do now. He thought Mash is weak and didn't want to involve him in his problems. Suddenly, Silver offered them an absurd deal. Dot accepted the absurd deal, and Silver said he brought up the mushroom head, Mash. Dot wanted to protect the weak Mash, and he said that Silver is allowed to attack him 10 times. Silver agreed to the deal, so he used his Iron Fist spell, and Dot was seriously injured. However, Dot was hit by countless strong attacks, but he didn't give up. Dot stood to the end, and he was ready to keep taking the last attacks. He knew he was stupid for risking his life for a girl, but he is satisfied that in return, he can protect them all. After that, Silver prepared a powerful attack, and he concentrated more magic into his attack. Dot was defeated by Silver, and he still managed to get up after 10 attacks. He then went to Silver, and he had no more strength to say anything. Dot fell to the ground, and Silver looked down on him. Then, Dot told Mash to escape with the silver-haired girl. Suddenly, the silver-haired girl confessed that she and Silver are friends. The girl insulted Dot and said he is pathetic. Then, Silver wanted to use Dot as his toy, but Mash stuffed his mouth with a cream puff. Mash was angry and offered to play with Silver the same game. Meanwhile, Lance was worried about his friend Mash. He explained to Lemon that there are different magicians. Silver is one of the red mages, and they are very dangerous because they can cast powerful attack spells. Silver continued to look down on Dot for acting like a hero. Silver then wanted to finish him off, but Mash tried to punch Silver with one of his attacks. His attack was blocked, and he said Mash will lose against him. The arrogant Silver looked down on Mash and attacked Mash. However, Mash was hit several times by his Iron Fist spell. Mash could withstand them all with ease, and he set himself up for his attack. Then Mash said, Triceps magic activated. Mash ran towards Silver, and he was unstoppable. The spell of Silver didn't work on Mash, and Silver was punched by Mash. Suddenly, Silver was bleeding, and he couldn't accept his loss to Mash. Silver tried to attack Mash with all his power, but Mash showed him the true power of his muscle. He slammed with infinite steroids power into the ground and was able to severely injure Silver. Silver was afraid of Mash, and Mash sat down. He waited for Silver's next attack. Mash said they can keep playing, but Silver knew that by continuing, he would die. As a result, Silver noticed that Mash is a monster and he wanted to try to escape from Mash. Suddenly, a huge monster appeared, and Silver was happy, thinking that he would manage to escape. Then the monster tried to attack Mash, but he defeated him with just one attack. Silver couldn't believe it, and thought he would die. Suddenly, Mash said he felt sorry for him, so Mash decided to stop their fight. Then Mash turned around, and the silver-haired girl started to cry. She tried to trick Mash, and Mash was going to hug her. After that, the girl thought that she managed to seduce Mash, but Mash is actually John Cena, so the girl was punished by his wrestling skills too. Following that, all enemies were defeated, and Dot thought the boy is crazy. In the evening, he found his friends, and they learned about his exploits. Then Dot was sad, and Mash sent Lemon to cheer him up. However, Dot immediately fell in love, and Lemon was scared. Then Dot thanked Mash, and he unwittingly insulted Dot. Afterwards, Lance explained to him that the Manga dorm is made up of the strongest nobles. They are the strongest and, at the same time, the most dangerous dorm in their school. They also want to prevent ordinary students from getting into the Bureau of Magic. Lance then said that soon the battles for the coins will begin, and the group named Magia Lupus will launch their attack. Suddenly, Mash's coins were shining, and Mash teased Dot with his coin. After that, Mash asked since when they were assigned to the dormitories. Mash then recalled his first day at school. The teacher showed a skeleton that was able to read people's minds. The skeleton was responsible for assigning the students to the appropriate dormitories. Then we see Mash, the skeleton, trying to read his mind. Mash only thought of cream puffs, and the skeleton was shocked. He realized that Mash is very stupid, and all Mash could think of was eating cream puffs. However, Mash's stupidity was transferred to the skeleton. As a result, Mash was assigned to the Adler dorm. Lance then said that Mash should try to avoid encounters with the Manga dorm students. The next day, Mash got lost again, and he discovered a door. Then we see Silver. He asked for forgiveness, but the leader didn't forgive his failure. The leader then said that weaklings will not be tolerated in their dorm, so Silver was punished by the leader, and he turned Silver into a wooden doll. The leader aspired to the title of Divine Visionary. Suddenly, Mash appeared, and he was unintentionally destroying the door of their room. Thank you for joining us for today's anime adventure. If you enjoyed this thrilling journey, don't forget to give us a like, share the excitement with your friends, and hit that subscribe button to never miss another captivating episode.